Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is Monday, November 1st, 2021, and you were listening to episode 123 of the Can I Say Something podcast. I'm your host and a recluse with a juicy caboose, Damien. Joining me today is the Baron Harkonnen of content.
All days.
Today on the show, we will be discussing, with spoilers for everything, always, a very brief what we've been watching segment before diving straight into our main review for the week, the Denis Villeneuve-directed adaptation of the Frank Herbert classic, Dune. Right into the show, bicycle@gmail.com, bicycle on Twitter, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, rate and review it on Apple Podcasts, tell a friend, family member, stranger. Dan, what's up, buddy? How we doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good.
So I'm the I'm the Harkonnen, huh?
Yeah. You're the Harkonnen. Yeah.
That ain't
You're the
bad.
big guy in the suit.
I'm a little overweight, but I can
in the
hover.
Soup. Yeah. You're not a TikTok guy, right? You're not on the TikTok or the talks?
I'm not.
Okay, so there's a what do they call a meme going around where people will take a clip of Adam Driver when he was in Girls, the show Girls on HBO, many, many years ago, and there was a scene where he would take a sip of soup and he'd go, good soup. And I can just imagine Baron Harkonnen just sitting in that soup and Dave Bautista sitting on the edge of it and scooping it up and being like, good soup.
Well, at one point in that movie, he was in the soup. It was really gross. Imagine
it was
if that
in the
was
soup.
The soup that you're talking about.
The Baron soup. Yeah. How much would somebody have to pay you to take a drink of the Baron soup?
I think I would rather bite the poison pill.
Exactly. So we'll get into Dune a little bit later. Choking on my own excitement here. Get into that later. First, let's talk about what we have been watching over the past couple weeks. I've been, like I said when we met up today, I've been on a nostalgia trip for some reason. I have my ADD, my ADHD is taking over for some reason. I was screaming through the Wheel of Time books to get caught up for the show this fall on Amazon. So I went through 1, 2, and 3 in about, I don't know, month and a half. And then I hit a wall for some reason with the fourth book. I just could not. There's so many characters. There's so much going on. It's like Game of Thrones level of, plot and character development and palace intrigue and all that good stuff, which I enjoy. But it's just, I don't know what it is. something flips in my brain where I just can't hold on.
Oh, yeah. It happens. It happens to the best of us.
Just not allowing it. Yeah.
It's something you consider how much media you take in, that you consume on a daily basis, like between podcasts and movies and TV shows and audiobooks. I mean, I don't even know how you keep it straight. Well, you tell me those days when you were 2-speed listening to podcasts. It's like, how do you even comprehend any of that? How do you absorb any of that? Possible.
2-speed. Yeah, 2-speed I save for specific podcasts. I don't have the names right in front of me, but there are some where they talk very, very slowly. NPR, some of the news shows, very, very slow tempo that they have there to, convey information to the lowest common denominator. The poors, they can't take in information as fast as we can, so they have to be as slow as possible for the common Joe, the common man has to take information very slowly. So they do that for them. But for me, no, I got to jack that shit up to 2 times speed. But what was I going to say? Yeah, so I've been going back listening to many of the podcasts from yesteryear, from like 2 years ago, and I have some notes.
What a time to be alive!
It's very from the good times, from the before times, 2019 and part of 2020. There were specific moments in February of 2020 where we're talking about. What's this COVID thing? The COVID thing in China. Check out China.
Oh, God.
How it's fucking with our stocks. So it was fucking with our stocks. You had fake stocks. I had real stocks. And I was bitching about how the coronavirus was fucking my stocks. Like, this is the worst thing that's going to be a factor. It's going to be repercussions of coronavirus. Is going to fuck with my stocks, right? Yeah. It's be fine.
I will never financially recover from this.
Exactly. We were talking about top 5 movies from the aughts, from the naughty aughties, from the 2000s, and Dion was poo-pooing Carrie's choice of Anchorman because it was a fun choice as opposed to a quote-unquote good movie. And I noticed it was very similar to later on when we did the 2010s picks, and I was poo-pooing Dion's choice of having Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 on his top 5 best movies of the 2010s. So I thought that was pretty funny.
You see that? I learned it from you, Dad. I learned it from you.
A couple more moments that I picked out. We were doing top 5 fictional badass motherfuckers, and at some point we were talking about like one-hit wonders, and I was trying to think of the name of the song "Thumb Thumping," and I kept saying "chump chumping." What's it?
Chumbawamba.
Chump chumping. Chumbo did the song "Thumb Thumping," so I combined those two. Tum tumping. Best 5. What did he say? Andy said next year during the top 5 best things so far. So this was June of 2019, very early on. And he said next year we should all travel more. That would have been 2020. So that was
way to go, Andy.
If you're watching, if this is like a book or a movie, that would be considered what do they call it, foreshadowing for what's coming in the next year. Yeah. That's not great. And then I did want to talk about a little bit about like Andy's. The last time he was on, which was I checked the record book, I checked the receipts. He was on. Talk about it was last year's like last August. So it's been almost a year and a half since he's been on, and we talked about
Power Rangers?
Like best theme songs, maybe best theme songs. I think what it was. Yeah,
I feel like we talked
August
about Power Rangers at one point. That kind of that syncs together.
Or no. It was best viral videos, and we were doing the Pokemans. You can't pull 10 Pokemans, and we were over here laughing. Dan and Andy was like, "Is that really top 2?" I was like, "Yes, it was." And you were like, "What was it?" We were doing the top 3. I think top 5 was finalized as size Gangnam Style, and you were talking about how you watched this. You were at some sort of sporting event.
Tennis tournament, yeah.
Tennis tournament, and you were laughing about, you watched the video like 40 times just by yourself.
Trashed in my hotel room.
On your phone. Yeah, so that was fun. But it's just interesting that he has this weird view of like, we were talking about Captain Marvel. I watched Captain Marvel, which I have 2 things to say about that. When people talk on podcasts about things they've watched, and then somebody else hasn't watched the thing, they will just sit quietly like a good little student listening and chime in and say, "Oh, that's interesting. What'd you like about this? What'd you not like about that? Oh, I like this actor. I like that director. Blah blah blah. Things like that, right?" But I was trying to bring up Captain Marvel like 4 times, and we kept going off on tangents, which, I was part of, but still, it's just like, I'm sitting here trying to talk about this movie I'm watching, and he's like, "Fuck Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel's stupid. Why is he called Captain Marvel? The thing is called Captain Marvel. It's like calling your thing Captain DC. It's stupid. Dumb. Stupid." I was like, relax. I'm just trying to tell you a thing I watched. And then one of the most famous ones I keep going back to is when we were talking about, I played a clip of Justin Timberlake and Anna Kendrick were promoting Trolls World Tour, and there was a clip of them on a radio show where they were talking about like somebody called in as having a bad opinion, and he's like, "I just don't get Billie Eilish. I don't get it." They're over in England somewhere on a radio UK radio show, and somebody called in and he's like, "I don't get Billie Eilish. She's stupid. She talks funny. She's weird." And then JTT's like, "No, I like everything about her. I like her nail. I like your nails. I like your hair." But then Andy's like, Justin Timberlake, what? He's did the Dick in a Box, and he was in Sync like 15 years ago. But why is he a thing now? And it's like, well, he's promoting this movie, Trolls World Tour, and he's like, "Trolls World Tour? What the fuck? Why? Why is Trolls a thing now? I don't get it. It was a thing when we were kids, but why now?" And I'm like, it's just because money, because they're trying to make money off of this thing. Yeah, it's money, and he's like, "I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't get it." And
they made quite a bit of money off of it. So who's laughing now?
All the money that I said.
Who's laughing now?
Yeah. Who's laughing now? Yeah, exactly. So it's just weird to me that he's baffled into irritation. This is what I have written down. It's just he's like, "I don't get it, and I'm mad about it."
Andy is the quintessential boomer, bud.
He is. He's getting there, it's interesting to me because it's an insight into like where do boomers come from? Where does that boomer mentality come from? And this is like the origin story. This is like the villain origin story of boomers. It's just like it starts here with trolls. It starts with like, Marvel stuff. It starts with the zeitgeist. It starts with pop culture passing you by in your late 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, and then it just cascades from there. It snowballs from there where you're just bitter about not understanding pop culture, and then it just compounds year after year. More things come and pass you by, more trends, more kids doing dumb shit, and by the time you're 60 and 70, you're just like, what the fuck is all this bullshit? You're just such an angry old man. So I can see it. I can see where it starts from.
Trolls, actually. I mean, because Trolls was around when we were younger, I wonder if he felt personally attacked there. It's like, that was our thing.
Yeah.
you can't use that. Come on.
Yeah.
Instead of like, I don't understand what it is. It's like, I understand perfectly what it is. You are stealing that content from me. My childhood is at stake here.
Yeah, exactly. It's always, I don't understand this. This is weird. The fear of the unknown, right? Yeah. So it's always not understanding something makes you afraid of it, makes you angry at it. Yeah, it's that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a lot easier for like content like these days from like kids. It's just everywhere, like TikTok, stuff like that. Like we didn't have that kind of stuff either. So we're surrounded by it. So I can understand. I mean, it happens with everybody. Like no generation understands the generation after them. But like I can see where people get irritated just because you're just overwhelmed with all sorts of media and quote unquote content.
Yes.
So
content.
I get
content. Yep.
I'm always having this conversation with Carrie too. She's turned into quite a boomer as well. She still can't get over
tough.
like things like YouTube stars and stuff.
YouTube, yeah, streamers, stuff like that.
Yep.
One more thing, and then we can go on to what you've been watching. I just barely got through. Like I said, I'm trudging through these big old stories, big old wheel of times. But I shifted gears and went to a collection of short stories written by Ted Chiang, because he wrote Story of Your Life, which is the short story which was the basis for the movie Arrival, which I listened back to our discussion on, which is a very good discussion. So I read a couple of his short stories. Very good. Very, very good. Like, I'm fascinated by, again, it's this whole thing of like this other thing that I'm never be a part of like, super intelligent people, Mensa level people, super intelligence, super, academia levels of that stuff that I'll never be a part of. But I enjoy peeking into that world. He was writing about, guy, it's basically Limitless. Remember that that movie Limitless with Bradley Cooper from a few years ago? Yeah, remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, so one of his stories in there was called Understand. It was basically that, where a guy goes in and takes some drugs and has become super, super powerful. And it gets into all of this, like, I understand myself, I understand my way of thinking, I can type two different things while thinking about a third thing. It gets very metatextual with that kind of stuff. Very, very interesting. So I would highly recommend Ted Chiang's Story of Your Life and Others, collection of short stories that he wrote.
Real quick, before you jump back, before you move forward, when you were going in the Wayback Machine, listening to the old podcast.
Yes, sir.
Remember when we were doing the game, the game show, and I had that segment where I took quotes from the Wayback, like the first year we started doing it, and we had to guess who said what. We were funny bitches back then. We were funny bitches.
We were, yeah. I was
gonna kick out of that. Did you hear any good? I mean, besides the ranting and the raving, were there parts where you genuinely laughed? Like that was good. That was a fun moment right there.
Yeah, the chumping, there was many times. I forgot to write down some of them, but yeah, very, very funny moments of the show.
Yes, good. Glad you had fun.
Yeah, I did have fun. So what have you been listening to, watching this week?
I've been so when fantasy football, when the NFL season starts, I'm fantasy football though. I'm all in,
Gotcha.
During COVID, I made like this weekly league where you just like redraft a team every single week to avoid instances where your player would go on a COVID list for like two to 3 weeks. So instead, like one of the more frustrating parts of fantasy football is injury or something like that. things you can't control that just ruins your team. So I devised a league, like a DFS kind of thing, to take the injury risk out of the game. Mostly, I mean, a player could still get hurt in a game, and then they wouldn't play that game, but it wouldn't destroy your whole season. So I got that, and I actually went back to a season-long style because some of the league mates like the. Even though it's very frustrating, there is a sort of feeling of superiority when you draft a team and you can win a championship with like this squad. You've overcome all these obstacles, injuries, bad playing, whatever, stuff like that. Anyways, I digress. During this time, I'd say about 90% of my time and during the football season is fantasy related. And so my watching things, listening to things has taken quite a hit. So primarily with podcasts, I listen to fantasy football stuff or other sports stuff because the NBA season has just started up as well. But yeah, were you going to say something? I thought you said also. Oh,
also, your employer has brought down the sledgehammer of no more phones on the floor, no more
the electronic device,
bullshit like that.
The bill of electronic devices. Yeah. Yep. It made it a little bit more difficult, but
yes.
Yeah.
So there's
that. Whatever. What they don't know don't hurt them. Anyways,
exactly.
Speaking of, I did, however, get to watch, finally, you'll be happy to know, the first episode of Succession. I enjoyed it. I like that. I like that part where he just walks in and he's like, "Sup, motherfuckers?" But it's a very stressful show, bud. It's just,
yes.
I sympathize with these children, but at the same time, like, man, they're all assholes. Like, I can already tell this show is just like, everyone's an asshole. And you're going to be pissed at all of them. And I liked it, too, because the younger brother, the one that he comes in, he's like, "Sup, motherfuckers?" The whole episode, you're kind of like, haha, you're kind of funny. Like, I'm gravitating towards you because you entertain me. But, like, there was the baseball game towards the end, and he's, like, telling the little kid, he's just like, if you hit a home run, I'll give you $1 million. And he did his best. It was like it was a hit, but like he was trying to round the bases and he get tagged out at third. And he's just like, "Oh man, you almost did it. You almost did it. That was awesome." And he's like walking up to the kid and then he just tears the check up right in front of him. And he's like, here's a $250,000 because you almost did it.
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
Oh, man, you're a shithead too. So, yeah. It seems like it's going to be very interesting. So you keep speaking very highly of it. So I will continue to watch.
Yes.
It'll probably be slow going, but so far I am thoroughly entertained.
Good. I'm glad.
And so another one.
Anything else you've been watching?
And another one that I watched. I watched the first episode of Invincible, the animated superhero show on Amazon Prime. Have you watched that? Are you enjoying that?
I watched the first episode. Yeah, the animation style kind of turned me off a little bit.
Really? I mean, I don't mind the animation style. That's fine.
Yeah,
it's like a American kind of style to it. I don't know. American anime. Yeah. I can see why you'd get a little frustrated. It's just not what you're used to. It's like the Voltrons or something like that. I don't know, like old
it's
stuff,
like that,
like G.I. Joe or something like that.
But it's not even like old stuff. Like there's the old stuff. You're like, okay, that's fine that it's old. But then there was that like weird period of like CW shows of like, you know, not Batman stuff, Superman stuff. That stuff was fine. But like, what was the black superhero that had lightning? What was that one called?
Black Lightning?
I forget what it was called, but it was Black Lightning. I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, it was just this weird like a low frame rate. Like the thing about like anime, right? The good anime stuff is that it's, you know, like high frame rate, high detail things that are going on. Like One Punch Man, I've seen a few clips of that, and it's just so like visceral, and you can see veins popping out, and you can see like debris in the background, and it's just so fucking cool looking. Like the Dragon Ball Super, I think up their production value as well, right? And just looks incredible.
For sure.
Like
it looks like super polished and glossy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just comparing that to this, just, it doesn't compare at all, really.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I would say the voice acting they got for it is pretty legit.
Yeah.
J. Jonah Jameson voicing Omni-Man. I can't remember the other ones. I was just looking through the cast list and I was like, oh my, it's quite the star-studded vocal team here. But just watching it too, like it's interesting because you start off and like there's this apprehension towards Omni-Man from the other superheroes. Like the supervillains recognize who he is, but the superheroes too. There was like this moment where he saved one of them from saved one of them, and like he was just. They were like looking at him like, I don't trust you. What just happened here? And then they run away, and he was like, thank you, like I just saved you kind of thing. And then you're finding out like he's got this kid and he's like trying to be a father, that he's having a problem with like bonding with his kid and all this kind of stuff. And then there's just like the ending of the first episode, like then you're just like, oh, that's where the apprehension comes from. It's like, holy shit. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It was like the animated boys version, except if Homelander just wrecked everybody.
Yes, exactly. That was. I didn't read the book beforehand, so that took me very by surprise. Very much so.
I went into this blind as well. I've seen the meme format of it, like they're in the sky and he's like teaching his son and whatever. But just I had no idea what you see. You see the apprehension, you sense it with the other superheroes, and then you just got this moment where it's just like, okay, sure, man. Yeah, I don't know what just happened here. And then they roll credits. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah. Very cool show. Might check it out. I think it's on the first season, right? First season's all out, I believe.
Yeah, I think the second one's coming soon.
Yeah.
I was going to get Carrie to start watching Succession with me, but she's been stuck on this show, Rain. It's a time period piece with modern music. It's pretty awful. It's it's like King Henry type stuff, but then you just got like music like Backstreet Boys, like I don't know, like I want you, I love you forever. It's like, but there's none of this. It's like time periods clashing, like, and the worst part about it too is she's getting enjoyment out of it, but the show is canceled. So there's no finish to all these. There's 4 seasons so far. She's watched all 4 seasons, but there's no finale or anything like that. I'm like, what are you doing? It seems like a waste of time. I was like, I want to show you. I want to watch Ted Lasso with you. I want to watch Succession with you. Maybe we would like these shows, but fucking Rain won't end.
Did she ever finish the Hamilton book she's reading?
Oh yeah, she's past that. She's now reading the Dune book.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she read the Hamilton book, and then she went on to this George Washington book that was like 1,000 pages, and then she just read Elton John one, and now she's on Dune. So, yeah, she reads fast.
Fast. Yeah, I listen fast, so we're the same.
We're basically the same people.
All right, so let's get to Dune. We'll save some of this stuff later on if we have time, but for now, let's get into our main review of Dune.
The outsiders ravage our lands in front of our eyes. Their cruelty to my people is all I've known. What's to become of our world? Paul.
A boy.
Hey, Duncan, can I trust you with something?
Yes, always. You know that.
I've been having dreams about a girl on Arrakis. I don't know what it means.
Dreams make good stories. But everything important happens when we're awake. Hey, you. Put on some muscle?
I did?
No.
We our House Atreides. There is no call we do not answer. There is no faith that we betray.
Smile, Gurney.
I am smiling.
The Emperor asks us to bring peace to Arrakis. House Atreides accepts.
I know you. There's something awakening in my mind.
You need to face your fears.
Come with me.
Dune from 2021 from director Denis Villeneuve, who directed Sicario, Blade Runner 2049, Arrival, Prisoners, Incendies. We got Timothy Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, packed cast. Dion,
Jason
what did
Momoa.
you think of Dune? Jason Momoa, yeah, packed cast.
Oh, what did I think of Dune? I thought it was fine.
Indeed. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yep.
We'll see you next
Back
week.
it up, boys.
Bye-bye.
Woo! Yeah, I just thought it was fine. I didn't read the book. I read 40 pages of the book, and the book was a lot
Sure.
for me. I think we talked about it a little bit in the last podcast. Just the like kind of like Middle Eastern names kind of stuff. Like when the names are hard to pronounce, I'm not familiar with it. It,
Like
it
Paul.
frustrates me, and I
Paul
can't
and
identify
Jessica.
people because I'm too busy trying to pronounce their names. Like, what is the author's
Like Paul.
problem? You know, why does their name have to be like 15 letters long with 2 apostrophes in it? Like, I don't understand.
Duncan, Idaho.
That was fine. No, I got Duncan Idaho. I didn't even get to
Paul.
his character yet, though. That's the thing. I was the what the hell were they called? The Gesserit, whatever. Oh, the takeaway.
Benny Gesserit.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, Benny Gesserit. The takeaway though was I was correct on all the pronunciations, so I was happy about that. But it's just like I they need to be shorter for me, and they like the flow just flow for me. You know, it's just very frustrating. Anyways, that's the book. The movie was fine. I don't think at any point in it was I was confused. Some people would thought that you could be confused with all the like condensing a book, which we find out it's only half a book, but all of that into a movie. I thought it flowed fine. There was no point where I felt I was left behind or struggling to catch up. The scale of the movie was very impressive. We watched it in IMAX, and it was also Earmax. So
Yes,
like
indeed.
the music was good, but at times it was like it was egregious. Like when they were moving there to the desert planet Arrakis or whatever, and it was just like
Arrakis,
yeah, and they're just like heavy bass and like it's just like this doesn't need to happen. It's moving day. Like who why you got bass pumping on moving day?
Right.
But you know, like I said, I didn't watch it. There were frustrations I've seen. Like people didn't expect where it would end. They expected a little bit more out of certain characters. Definitely the balls on Villeneuve putting Dune Part 1 in this before he even got greenlit for Dune Part 2. That was a pretty. I mean, that was a power move right there.
Right. I mean, it's inevitable, just like Thanos, that we're going to see it Part 2.
Yeah. Easy gig for Zendaya.
Yeah. Yes. We'll get into that. But yeah.
What'd you think?
So
Sorry.
yeah, that was your.
I rambled.
Yes. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah. So I don't know if you have the notes document pulled open, but you can follow along if you want from that.
Hold on. I got to summarize real quick. This is basically. I remember what I was going to say. I lost it, but I remember. I feel like I just watched the most expensive pilot episode of any TV show ever.
Yes.
That's how I
there you go.
summarize
Yep.
Dune. Okay, your turn.
Yes, there you go. Very good. Thank you. Denis Villeneuve, right? We've watched a couple of his movies, Blade Runner 2049 and Arrival for our movie cage match thing last year, right?
Yes.
And so between these three movies, I feel like it's pretty obvious that, he makes these quiet, contemplative, ponderous movies, but with a very big budget sheen on them, right? Arrival was that. Blade Runner was that. I remember you guys talking about Blade Runner being very slow, contemplative, lugubrious, just like this movie is. And so, like you said, going into IMAX, going into this big budget, bombastic movie with huge scope, huge scale, huge budget, big blaring music, like you said, you expect a big budget movie like this to be like a Marvel movie, and it's just not. So during the first like 45 minutes, you go into this, and I went into this anyways. I don't know if you have this feeling, right, when you show somebody something and they're not digging it, and you can just feel them pulling back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you're showing somebody a video on your phone and you just like, haha, this is funny, or this is cool, and you can just feel them being like, I don't know about that. That's not cool.
Like
that's
you're telling somebody a story and they're just like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And you find out they said that's crazy like 5 times, and it's just like, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
We went into this big IMAX theater, lots of people, very uncomfortable seats. I very much enjoy the seats at our local cinema, much better because you can actually recline and put your feet up.
I also don't remember being that packed in. It's been a while since I've been to one of those, I guess. I guess Avengers Endgame was a long time ago.
Yeah, like 2.5 years now, I think. It was beginning of 2019.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could feel that. I could feel the audience pulling back just because the first 45 minutes, like you said, just moving. Them taking their shit from, I forget what their home planet was, but they're going to Arrakis. They're going to Dune. And it is very contemplative. The beginning of this movie is very slow and lugubrious, and I felt the audience feeling that. I feel like they got, sold a false bill of goods by being told that, not only is this big giant movie, this big blockbuster movie with a lot of action set pieces, then we get this, just palace intrigue and character development and character arcs and a lot of slow pans of the Citadel and things like that. So I think I felt like, anyways, being in this giant group of people on a Friday night for this big movie, I feel like people weren't quite sure what they were getting at first. Did you feel like that too?
Yeah. Oh, to piggyback on that, I was going to say that Carrie, she went into this completely blind, and I just had to keep looking over at her and just checking out her face because I was like 15 minutes in, I'm like, I don't really know if this is going to be. I mean, I already thought it wasn't going to be her type of movie. She was literally only going to watch because of Timothée Chalamet, and I'm just watching her I look over every 15 minutes like, you're still with us? You're still here? You get everything that's going on, and like the loud noises were bothering her a lot, but once she got past that, I guess she started to enjoy it. But she kept having this look on her face, I'm like, she's not having fun right now. This was not what she expected.
Right. So let's get into the plot of this a little bit. So it's the Leto Atreides, played by Oscar Isaac, is summoned to Arrakis.
Great beard.
Great beard, one of the best beards in Hollywood today. He is summoned to the planet Arrakis to take over from the Harkonnens, who were told to, just get the fuck out of there? They're just like, all right, your lease is up, you're out of here. Something like that.
No, I thought they had to go to, I thought they had to go to Dune to harvest the spice or whatever.
Well, yeah, but the Harkonnens were already doing that, and the Emperor basically said, all right, you guys, you rented Arrakis enough time. Now the new tenants are taking over, or something. I didn't really understand what that transfer of power was about. But anyways, they set the Atreides family. Yeah, of course. It was a big setup. Oscar Isaac plays Duke Leto Atreides, and his wife is played by Rebecca Ferguson. I like her a lot. She was in the recent Mission Impossible films. She plays Lady Jessica, Oscar Isaac's wife. And Timothée Chalamet, apparently it's pronounced Timothée, not Timothy.
I don't want to nitpick, but that wasn't his wife.
Lady Jessica was not Leto Atreides' wife.
Right. Concubine.
Okay. Concubine. Thank you. Clearing that up. Because Leto Atreides knocks up Lady Jessica, and the spawn is Paul Atreides, which is the Bene Gesserit have been going through this program of trying to find the new, I had the name of it on the tip of my tongue, now it's gone, but basically the new Messiah, the new prophet, was going to be the result of these centuries of genetic engineering, right? They wanted this. They wanted a female, which I don't know if they made explicitly clear in the movie, but the new Quizark Haderach,
Yep.
the new the Messiah, was supposed to be a female,
Nailed
and
it.
because Paul is a boy, they fucked everything up. Just like if you're born a boy, or no, what if you're born a girl in China, that fucks everything up too.
Yeah, the boys in this are supposed to be weaker, apparently. So
Yes,
Like-
exactly.
also, maybe they double down because like there's a whole breeding process that they do. That's what
Yeah,
she's a concubine, and Isaac's character lamented that
did it raw.
he never married her or anything like that. So
right.
yeah, but they got this whole kind of borderline prostitution kind of thing. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah,
I don't know. Anyways,
but yeah, they're all supposed to. The stronger
Jason
ones are the
Momoa
women. So I imagine like breed
It's
a
a-
woman,
it's a-
and if the woman doesn't turn out to be the one, she's still useful in a way where we can
Yeah,
still have this selection process, this breeding process.
sure, yeah.
And prove nothing.
So it's a matriarchal,
worthless.
it's a matriarchal society as opposed to a patriarchal society. Jason Momoa, Duncan, Idaho, is sent to Arrakis to stake out what's going on there. So he when they meet up again, he's
No beard.
beardless, which is weird. No beard after going tribal, which is like the opposite of what you usually do. You usually go out with the what do you call it, the indigenous people, and you usually let nature take its course, but apparently not this time, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so they get on Arrakis, they check out what's going on, and it's very clear from the beginning, like you said, it's a setup, it's a trap. The Harkonnen basically sabotaged their spice production. They're not making it nearly as much as they're supposed to be. So you see, one of the best scenes in the movie, in my opinion, is when they're checking out the spice production, which happens out in the middle of the desert. Very dangerous production because you have the space worms. I forgot what the actual name. I think they have a name for the space worms, but basically there's these giant gargantuans. There's a name for them though. The Shai-Hulud. Shai-Hulud are the name of the indigenous names of those space worms. with all the Arabic sounding names, yeah, we know. So one of the best action set pieces in this movie is when Oscar Isaac's character and Timothée Chalamet are out there looking at the spice production, and a giant space worm is about to attack. And Oscar Isaac this is the scene where you're supposed to understand that he is not the same as the Harkonnen, that he isn't cold and heartless like they are. Like he values life over the spice production, which ultimately ended up fucking him in the end. But very, very cool scene of
Very Ned Stark like.
Exactly. This is again this Dune was written, this was written in like the late 60s, early 70s. So you can see so much of Game of Thrones, so much of Star Wars, so much of any giant space epic, any sci-fi epic, any fantasy epic owes a lot to the plot of Dune. The overarching themes of Dune, you can see replicated in a lot of modern day sci-fi and fantasy things.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
also just like GRRM levels of main character killing, I mean, this wasn't too far apart from like what you would see out of Game of Thrones, honestly. So
yeah, exactly. So I just want to finish up talking about the set piece there with he's trying to get them all off the rock, off the sandworm, sort of like Tremors again, another sci-fi classic inspired by Dune. So they have to get all these guys off the ship before the sandworms attack, and they were talking about this on Slash Filmcast this week. Of it's a competency porn of just somebody knowing what they're trying to do, what they have to do, and getting it done. Of Leto Atreides just says, "We're getting these guys off," and his son is like, "But there's not enough room." And he's like, "Well, figure it out. We'll just do it. We're doing the thing. I don't give a fuck how it has to get done, but we're doing it." So they get all the guys off that just in time, just before the sandworm attacks. And I feel like, again, just like Zendaya not being in this movie, just like this being a part one, I feel like we were sold a false bill of goods of the worm not being shown. Like, when did they finally show the worm? Like at night, right? Till the very end, at night. I was
The
I was
full
slightly
body
disappointed.
of the worm. Yeah, you didn't see that until the end.
Yeah, I was
You saw,
highly
you saw the
disappointed
mouth
in-
right there, though. When it
Yeah,
swallowed
but the mouth is just like a big, giant anus. It's just a giant colon that scoops things up. And yeah, I was cock teased. I was blue balled with my full frontal worm that I was promised in these ads.
Actually,
So that wasn't.
Oh yeah,
great.
well that happened later on when they had to run to the. Yeah, okay, that was later on. You're right. Yep.
Yeah, much later on.
That was
much
our
later on.
first
This is
glimpse at the sandworm, though, the mouth, and yeah, you didn't see the actual body of the worm until very close to the end.
So yeah, just bouncing around here. I feel like with talking about the spaceships, talking about the oscillopters, whatever they were called, very cool design of those, and I feel like overall very very good production design. It's a very tactile feel, right? Everything is push buttons. There's no touch screens. There's no computers in this world. You have mentats, which are basically human characters, because you see that at the very beginning of Leto Atreides talking to one of them and saying like, how much are they spending to even come here? And his eyes go white, and he goes like, blah, 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 10 trillion, whatever, 10 trillion
Human
credits.
calculator.
They spent, Yeah, human calculators, exactly. Because I guess back in the day, like 2,000 years ago or whatever, they had a Bolarian jihad, which is the AI went crazy and was fighting back against humans. So they had this giant space war between the humans and the AI, robots and computers and shit like that. So in this world, any sort of AI, any sort of smart computer has been completely outlawed. So that instead they have mentats, which are human computers, doing all the high-level computing that computers would normally do. So that's cool. How'd you feel about production design overall? I mentioned it just now, but it felt very much like Alien, like this dirty, danky, tactile, gross, grimy world. Did you get that feeling as well?
I got, let's say gross and grimy, but I will say like gritty, like because it's sand.
Gritty, yes.
It's sand everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what they say when you have to wipe your ass in a desert. I forgot what the punchline was, but it was one of the jokes in there. But yeah, I mean, they definitely captured the whole unforgiving element of being in a desert, of being in a like this barren wasteland that just like you fuck up, you're probably dead, you know, that kind of thing. And not to mention, you got sandworms chasing you if you don't walk a certain way. They do a really great job of just having like showcasing these small people in like these situations where the machines are so much bigger than them, the sandworms are so much bigger than them, and it's just like the problems are so much bigger than them. I also like that there were like no guns or anything, you know. It was just there's the sword fightings and the shields. Like it was tech heavy, but there were no guns. It was interesting.
Yes, tech heavy, but no guns. Exactly. Yeah, that was interesting. Moving on. Let's talk about music was done by Hans Zimmer. Speaking of the bagpipes, he was apparently the one that was playing the bagpipes during the ceremony of the Harkonnens coming to wherever they were, right? Yeah, that was interesting. Very, very amazing music in my opinion. You mentioned earlier on that it blew your hair back, which I feel like it did to a lot of people. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it was
fine when it made sense, but like I said, there were some. It was just like, it was the IMAX stuff. You know, obviously it's really really loud, and it just there were times where it's like, oh wow, they set the move so great, but it was just like moving day, and I know you're trying to get like anxiety, like
yes, that.
This is a big moment. This is setting the groundwork for everything that's to come. Like everything that happens after this point is because of this treachery afoot. And so you get these noises that try to capture that, but you know, it's just like I get why they did it, but it just fell flat for me. But I can understand why other people would love it because it's epic, man.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the actors here, or the characters. What was your favorite character in this? Was it Duncan Idaho, just because of all the fight scenes? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that part where he just you think he's down and now and he just stands up and he just roars. It's just like that's everything I love about Jason Momoa. But I will say that this wasn't like you got Momoa's typical roles. Like I mean, probably most recently people saw him as Aquaman, and it's just like a little cringy, at times. Like it's almost like he was trying too hard to be cool. This movie, he didn't have to try to be cool, man. The dude just dripped coolness, charisma. Like he gets off that plane and he's just like, it's like, hey buddy. He's like, oh, you been working out? Oh, do it? No, you haven't. Like it was just so natural for him. Like he felt like he found this groove, and I thought it was great. I thought it was great, and it just I mean it captured all his strong points. Like he can turn on the violence if he needs to. He just be like this cool, suave motherfucker. It's just like, I wish he had a beard. But speaking of beards, Timothée Chalamet's dad.
Yes.
In the movie, I liked him. He was another good character, another strong character.
Yes, very good character. Speaking of like people that weren't in this very much with Zendaya, also Javier Bardem playing Stilgar was not in this movie very much, but I feel like he made the most of the minutes that he was in this, especially when the first time you meet him, right? He's coming into Oscar Isaac's room, the war room or his office, what do you want to call it?
The war room, the council chamber.
The council chamber, yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And he comes in, doesn't say anything, just spits in the table. Like, what the fuck? And then
everybody pulls out their swords, and Duncan's like sitting there behind the table. He's like, we appreciate your gift of your hydration.
Yeah.
Your bodily fluids.
Your bodily fluids,
I mean,
exactly.
if you think about it, it's just like, that makes a lot of sense. They're in a desert. Like, to spit, to give up some bodily fluids, especially when you're walking around in armor that, like, recycles your sweat, your piss, and all this stuff and turns into drinking water.
Yeah.
Like, it's very clear that you need all the fluid in your body to survive in this element. And for somebody to spit in your general direction, that almost is like a sign of friendship. Just like, at times could be saving your life. I don't know.
Exactly. It's a sign of respect, basically, what that is supposed to be.
Big respect.
Big respect. Yeah, exactly. Some of my favorite moments also with, let's see. I feel like Dave Bautista played Glossar Robin, was like the Baron's nephew, didn't get enough screen time. I liked to know more about him, what his deal was. I love the moment after the Baron is trying to get poison and they put him in the goop, and Batista just standing there looking at him with his mouth open. Just like, what the fuck is going on?
I know that the Baron he monologued a lot. He was monologuing a lot. Well, inside his head, and that would be hard to kind of convey in a movie when he's not like the main character or anything. So I feel like Batista's role in this was to kind of get that dialogue out in the open, because it did have that feel to it where it's just like he had the expressions that you're talking about Batista having were kind of like what the Baron would be thinking in his head. So to see Batista reenact that was I got a kick out of that as well. I thought it was a good touch, way to bring that to the forefront.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many people in this where they have a much bigger role to play later on in the book. So I can understand like having them in here to be like, okay, this, I know you didn't get much of Josh Brolin, Gurney Halleck, you didn't get much of Javier Bardem, but they do play a bigger role later on. So I can understand why they would put them in here now. But
spoiler.
Well, I just said.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make sense because it's just like, okay, 1 second Brolin's on screen, and next you don't see anything from him ever again.
I just said bigger role, my man.
Like you just know that's gonna be one of those things where it's just like desert power, and he pops up from the sand. He's like, I'm still here, dudes.
Yeah. So let's see, where should we go from here?
I will say the Kimes thing though pissed off a lot of people. It seems.
What did?
A lot of people seem torn on what her character was.
Oh,
which wasn't actually a girl, a woman in the book. It was actually supposed to be a man, and it was more fleshed out. Yeah. And they kind of like, they took a shortcut with that character.
They did, yes. Let me see if I can find them in.
Dr. Leah Kimes.
Yeah, Dr. Kynes, much bigger role in the book. Pretty much dies the same way as she does in the movie. Just sort of like going out into the desert, because she's very much in the book. She is like the expert in the melange, the spice. So she sort of, I think what happens is, character in the book just trips balls so hard that she gets lost in the desert and just sort of drifts into the dunes. Just has
really,
yeah, a worm, just because it's very much what happens in the movie too, right? She just sort of like, she was summoning a worm to come get her to ride it, which was like, oh shit, again, blue balling us with that, which is like, she got the hooks out, ready to go, and then she gets cut in the leg and killed off. Just like, oh man, I want to see some fucking worm ride. And we got a little bit at the end there, but still, I would love to see more of that shit.
Yeah, she was just posturing at that point. She's just like talking about desert power. She's like, well, I got power of the desert. And she pulls out her, I assume, the things you put on a horse, except they were spikes. Obviously, they slam them into the sandworm, but then it's just like, it's like, oh shit. Okay, well, nice knowing you.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we'll just.
I'll say even when they were riding the sandworm, that one image where you saw the person actually riding the sandworm.
Yeah.
Did that look super cheesy to you?
A little bit, yeah.
I felt like it was a little cheesy.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, I had already figured out that they were going to be riding sandworms, but it just seemed like this. I don't know. I just almost thought he'd like throw a thumb and pinky up and be like, "What's up, dude?"
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. So I want to talk about this. What do you call it? Idea or feeling that people have about Dune, which is like, oh, it's just another, white savior movie about a white dude coming into a tribal land and just rescuing all the people. And the book, the first book, but also once you get into book 3, it is very much like it's taking that idea but flipping it on its head, because the amount of pressure and the amount of superhuman abilities that he gets just become crushing to him later on. It's just this thing where I'm not going to say what it is, but his storyline and his story arc doesn't end well. So the thing that Frank Herbert was trying to get across by making him the hero, making him the leader of all this, and having him go down the path that he goes down is the exact opposite of what people think it is all about. It's all about how, the power and wealth and all of this stuff, all this responsibility can be absolutely crushing to somebody who isn't ready for it. And I think that's a thing that will eventually be, exposed to people down the line. But I think right now, it's way too early to be like, it's just another, it's way too early to just write this off as just another white savior movie. So.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, watching this too, I was like, I had the urge to go. You ever watch Ender's Game?
Yes. Yeah, I saw the movie.
Yeah, so another sci-fi movie. It's similar to that, where you're talking about this soul-crushing responsibility, but they don't fully understand it, and people expect it to go one way, but it turns out to be it's like this wholly different thing. And leaving this movie, Dune, I was like, I got this urge to go and watch Ender's Game again.
Yeah.
And it's just like you think about the similarities there, and that's all I could really. I was walking away. I'm just like, wow, these two movies are similar in a way where it's just like. I immediately, it just brought to my mind, and I thought that was cool because Ender's Game, I read the shit out of those books and loved the movie. So yeah. I mean, for this movie to channel or to bring that kind of nostalgia to the surface for me, remembering when I watched that stuff, read that stuff, I'd say that Dune struck a chord with me. I enjoyed that.
So I just want to read one quick quote here from Frank Herbert, which pretty much sums up what I was saying. He said in 1979, quote, "The bottom line of the Dune trilogy is beware of heroes. Much better to rely on your own judgment and your own mistakes." He wrote in 1985, quote, "Dune was aimed at this whole idea of the infallible leader because my view of history says that mistakes made by a leader or made in the leader's name are amplified by the numbers who follow without question." So, yep. Yeah. Anything else you want to bring up that I haven't written down here?
I will say I was getting a little annoyed, and I understand its purpose because spice is kind of like a drug. Like I guess the books are like really trippy. Like they're really that show what Spice is capable of doing to somebody. And while he kept seeing these dreams, and it's just like you see the same dreams over and over again. It's just like at one point I felt like they were just beating me over the head with a hammer. And it's just you get to this point where it's like, all right, now you pretty much know the movie because you've seen all these dreams take place, and that bothers me when it's just like it's not foreshadowing now. It's explaining it's showing what's going to happen before it actually happens, and then when it happens, it's like, okay, well, we just watched 4 visions of this before, so I'm not surprised. But I do like how they did throw curveballs in there. You're going along, and you're just like, okay, well, these dreams aren't what they seem, and one of my favorite parts of this, if not my favorite part, besides Duncan getting up and roaring at the dudes. The battle cry. Where it was the prophecy where he has the fight at the end, the duel to the death, and he sees this guy, and in his dreams he sees him as like a teacher, like a kind of like a father figure that's going to teach him how to survive in the desert, blah blah blah. But it turns out to be this whole, in a way, it is that situation, but he's teaching him a different lesson. Like he doesn't want, what the hell, mind fart. What was Timothée Chalamet's character's name?
Paul.
Paul, yeah, thank you. He doesn't want Paul to join the group they're in because water is like precious, and it'd just be better just to kill them and take their water and stuff like that. But then like that's one of the lessons of being in the desert. Like resources are hard to find, and you need to take them when you can. And then you got to learn how harsh it can be out there. So they end up having this duel, and he ends up like all this time he thought he was like having dreams about him dying, like, oh, this is my blood. But like it all came together where it's just like, oh shit, like the guy that he was assuming would be his teacher is teaching him in a way, but he has to like kill him. And it's just that was cool. I enjoyed that. That was probably my favorite part besides all the Duncan stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like how it just wasn't. It kind of flipped the whole prophecy thing on it.
It did.
Flipped the whole prophecy thing on its head.
Yeah. Yeah, what you were just saying there is something I talked to my coworker about. It's just when we talk about like unfilmable books, when everybody says, this book is unfilmable, it's stuff you were just talking about of internal monologues, internal fantasies, internal what'd you say, like prophecies, things people are seeing in their head, things people are feeling in their body that you can't like convey through visual means, right? Especially the part at the beginning where he's putting his hand in the box, that is all in his head. That's all, the Bene Gesserit and the mother Gesserit, whatever she was called, was, everything he was experiencing was in his head, right? And so it's very, very difficult to express some of that stuff through a visual medium like movies. Yes. Right. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Just waiting for you to confirm that. One more thing. How would you and your mom fare in the desert trek with just you and your Jim Jams?
Did you notice that too?
Yes. They were looking at each other.
That part. Yes. What was that?
That was. That was.
Don't even say it was like some sexual tension there. I
sexual tension.
Really confused what was going on. Like he did the look back, or no, she looked at him first, and he was all shirtless and stuff.
Yeah.
And then like it's like that thing where lovers are walking away from each other, and like he turns around, like, and she looked back, and now he's looking at her, but she doesn't know it, and it's just like, this is weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't get that whole part right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that I would not have such a relationship with my mother.
Okay. And Zendaya, my last.
But I wonder what the relationship actually is. Like she clearly cares for Paul, obviously, and Paul her as well. But is it like that normal kind of thing? Because when you think about when that High Mother Bene Gesserit came around, and she was like, "You need to pass this test, or I kill you," and the mother knew Paul had to go in there and take this test, and that was a risk. And like she just, while that clearly affected her, she still did it. Like I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't read any of the books, but like, I don't know. I didn't want to go down that road.
Okay. All right. That's not.
It's just like, well, it's like another guy, you know, if he's supposed to be such a big deal, like, are we looking at him like he needs to start breeding at this point, or is the goal successfully achieved? If he's the one, like, they don't have to do this anymore, you know?
Right. Gotcha.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. But,
like, it was almost like she was like looking at it like, oh, okay, well, you know, maybe if I bang my son right now, we're gonna make the real one.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Awful.
My last note.
That's just what I was thinking, because it was a very weird segment. I didn't understand it.
Keep going. I'm trying to.
Wasn't there another kid too? There's another kid. He keeps having a vision of this other baby, doesn't he? I forget.
Anyways, my last note is Zendaya needs to learn new faces. She has the same face that she makes in the Spider-Man movies, that weird, like, closed-eyed, like, confused sort of thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, that look like he's a good fighter. I don't know about you. Like, it's a judgy look.
It's a judgy look.
Always judging.
It's that look that she gave Tom Holland in the first Spider-Man Homecoming, when he's looking at the girl when they're like fawning over that one that she wasn't in the second one, but whatever her name was. So he's looking at that woman, the girl in the lunchroom, and then it cuts to Zendaya's face of just like squinting her eyes, like you said, judgmental. And she makes the same exact face at Paul. I'm just like, this is the face. This is what. Why are you making that same face? It's a weird face. It's like a funny, funny looking face.
That quarter smirk too,
Yeah.
like you know.
Yeah,
she don't smile. It's interesting. Like, what else is she in? I mean, maybe I haven't seen her in her best work, but I find her to be kind of bland. I hope that her character opens up a lot more. Like you said, she needs more facial expressions, but I think I haven't seen anything where she's blown me away in. Maybe that's probably on me. She seems like a big deal, so.
Yeah. Look up real quick. Zendaya is Michi. Zendaya is Michi. If you ever hear me say that, that's where that's from. She was in a.
Never heard you say that.
Yeah, I've said it a few times. You just talked over me, I guess. She was in a movie called Smallfoot, and she played Zendaya was Michi. So Zendaya was Michi in.
Does Michi make the same face?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I bet she does.
So she was in The Greatest Showman, Spider-Man Homecoming. She was in Euphoria on HBO. But is most.
Okay, yeah, she got good result from that.
Yes.
Good reviews, not result.
Exactly. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Noted. Out of the Denis Villeneuve films you have seen thus far, Blade Runner 2049, Arrival, and Dune, what's your favorite?
Arrival.
Arrival is your favorite Villeneuve film so far?
Yep.
I would highly recommend you watch Sicario and Prisoners.
I saw something about Prisoners. Prisoners is what was I watching? Oh yeah, I think I was listening to The Big Picture or something,
Yep.
or The Watch.
Yep.
And one of the guys was talking about watching Prisoners, and they were scolding him because he watched it with his child.
Oh yeah,
or something like that. And yeah,
it was
and he was like, "Oh, I turned her away from the bad parts," but he was like talking. He's like, "Yeah, she's just looking at me and like just daddy's crying, sobbing, like ugly crying."
Yeah.
And what kind of movie is it, Damien?
It's a murder mystery.
Huh?
It is a murder mystery.
Okay. All right.
Yep. It's got.
Why is he crying, Damien?
It's very emotional. It's got some very emotional beats. He's probably new fathers are emotional like that. But it's got these.
Are there triggers to why a new father would act like that in this movie?
I mean, maybe, possibly, could be.
Yeah, like knowing what I feel at times. Would you say that I would be likely triggered by this movie?
I mean, you'd be triggered, but because we all know you have a heart of stone, you have an ice cold stone heart. I don't think it'll make you tear up as much as a regular human being.
Okay, all right. Just making sure you don't want to see me cry or something or torture me.
Yeah, I love both those things.
Because you would never do that.
I would never do that.
You would never do that to me.
But also Sicario.
You would never put me in a position like that.
Yeah, no, never. Sicario is another fantastic film by Mr. Villeneuve. They should absolutely check out. So before we go too long, do you want to talk about Taylor Swift's best songs that are ranked this week by Rolling Stone?
You showed me that list, and that list is garbage. And the thing was, is it's a new album, and I'm sorry, it's the new songs basically, and I don't vibe with the new stuff, and that's me. That's my problem. I've expressed it in detail before. It just seems like when people make lists like this, and they're just like, all right, well, fuck your roots. I'm gonna completely shit on them, disrespect them, by putting them at the bottom of your lists. And then only highlighting your newer stuff, it just it falls flat with me, you know. And there's so much, like, yeah, okay, Taylor's at this point, are people tired of hearing the Taylor country songs?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. Are they tired of hearing the pop songs? Oh, for sure. But I mean, that's good shit. That's the good shit. I'm sorry.
That's the good shit.
That's what I prefer. I mean, I go back and listen to her first album. That fucking album slaps, dude.
Okay.
So yeah, I totally disagree with that list. Rolling Stones. It was Rolling Stones that put it out.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What did you think about it? Are you? I didn't know you dabble in Taylor Swift.
Of course I do. When have I ever disparaged Miss T Swift? Miss Swifty.
Well, I wouldn't say you haven't disparaged her, but I just say I didn't know you dabbled in it as much as I guess I didn't know you did.
Right.
I know you liked her folky stuff. We covered that in a past podcast,
Yes,
but I don't her older stuff. I feel like that one where it's like no, not that one. Where I Knew You Were Trouble.
Yeah, great song.
Like and they spoofed it with the goat like screaming. I feel like that would have hit home with you. I feel like you would have appreciated that.
Yeah, I do, and I do. I
just feel like her older stuff would be like, yeah, it's fine. Not really. It's not my type of stuff.
Let's see. So you
her new stuff seems like something that you would like, though.
Sure.
That's what
sure.
So did you agree with that list?
I'm trying to get in there.
I didn't know
I'm trying to squeeze into between the words you're saying.
Yeah.
We're Never Getting Back Together from 2012 is 21. Because you're saying like they ignored her early stuff in the top of the list, but that's not necessarily true. They have Clean from 24.
21's the top of the list.
Listen, yes. What we're talking about. Listen, I think we forgot to mention that they listed all 200 of her. What would you call it? Most notable songs. Maybe it's just all of her songs. So when you say the top of the list, yes, 20 is the top of the list when we're talking about 200 songs altogether. What do you think about
top 10%? It's 129 songs ranked.
200 is actually 200. So they ranked out 200 songs.
What did it say? 129. They ran the title.
I know, but you can click back to what did I say in the timeline? Yeah, you can. They ranked 200 songs. This is what I'm telling you. This is facts. Trump did not win the election, and there are 200 songs in this list. Bad Blood is ranked at
I'm just saying their title is
199.
misleading. I was just saying their title is misleading in the thumbnail.
You're breaking up. You might want to restart the old Discord there. So to the audience and to you listening, Dion, Bad Blood, worst Taylor Swift song apparently, ranked said by Rolling Stone.
Disagree.
Okay. Let's scroll through real quick and see if we can talk about some notable ones here. Some ones I've heard of. We're at the bottom of the list here. Do you think Me with Brandon Urie from 2019 deserves to be at 189?
Awful.
189. Good choice. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. Let's clarify.
I agree with that one completely.
You agree. Okay. So you said awful. I wasn't sure if you meant the ranking was awful or the song is awful.
Song is awful.
Let's see. White Christmas, her cover of White Christmas is at 177. You're just agree?
That's fine. Okay. Other people have done it better.
Let's see. A lot of songs I have never heard of, obviously. She has many songs. 100, apparently. Endgame featuring Ed Sheeran and Future at 163.
I agree.
You agree? Okay. Untouchable, 152.
I like that they gave Blank Space respect. It was at 7.
Let's
Deserves
not spoil the list. We're going through it. That's not just jump in there.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that's fine. Breathless is at 145.
I didn't give number 1.
All right, yeah, that's true. Breathless is at 145. Agree or disagree? Disagree?
It's fine.
Let's see here. Boy, I can't imagine going through all 200 and being like, yeah, this is 129.
Tell me if you see Love Story or Picture to Burn.
Okay, I haven't seen those two either. Last Christmas got it.
Or Mine.
Last Christmas is at 129. Tell Me Why is at 127. Let's.
I think I'll be too far back.
Or back. Okay.
Let's jump ahead to like 40 or no to the 60s.
Let's see. Let me.
So far the back end of that list sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I would.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's.
I put them back there.
Okay. I'm trying to see. Nothing else. Roll up into the 60s. See if there's anything I heard of.
Paper Rings.
Coming in at
The Man.
Coming in at number 60. Sad, Beautiful, Tragic.
Red.
Coming in at. Well, did you?
Shake It Off.
Okay. Can we go one by one? What are you doing here, my man? What are we doing?
I'm naming off songs. I'm just wondering if you're coming across any of them. I want to know where they.
Okay.
Those are my jams. Those are the ones I like. So I'm curious to see where they are in the list. I admittedly didn't go through the whole list.
You mentioned Mine.
Thing about Rolling Stone on mobile is just it's a trash website. On
You
mobile.
mentioned the song Mine. It is at number 57. Agree or disagree? Too high, too low? Too low?
Cool. That should be higher, but yeah, that's good.
Did you say The Man? Did you mention The Man?
The Man, yep.
Or 55. Too high or too low?
I would have assumed it was too low.
You assumed it's too low. Okay.
I would bump it up higher.
Daylight. Did you mention Daylight? Let's go into the top 49. 49 is This Love. Let's see. Safe and Sound with Civil Wars is 47. Mean is number 45. I Knew You Were Trouble coming in at a hot 43. Is that too high?
I would have thought that was too high for them. I thought that song would get a lot more shit than it does.
Yeah.
I think it's a banger.
It is a fucking banger. Let's see. Betty coming in number 35 from her new album Folklore.
Didn't vibe with it.
And vibe of it. Okay. Song called 22 comes in at number 32.
Yep. Oh, come on. Blue Balled.
Last Kiss, not the Pearl Jam song, coming in at number 30. Cardigan, which is probably my favorite song off of Folklore, coming in at number 28. Too low, in my opinion. How about you? What do you say?
I would have thought that was low as well. I thought they would have had it at 1 or something.
Our Song from 2006, number 26.
Appropriate.
Red is coming in at number 24, off of what I'm assuming the album Red.
That seems high.
7 comes in at number 23. Number 21. Have any guesses? One of her best known songs from 2012.
Shake It Off.
No. Same album, I think?
Never getting back together.
Yes, sir.
Look at me go.
Too low? I feel like it's too low for me. I would put that higher.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Top 20. Here we go. Number 20 is New Year's Day.
Nope. This is where I start disagreeing heavily. So yeah, I guess the other ones should have been higher because these ones should be lower.
A lot of 2020 songs coming in the top 20.
Yeah, that was my biggest gripe.
Not recognizing her early stuff in the top 20.
Yeah, I needed more of that. I mean, Blank Space is there, and I think that's probably one of her top 3 songs.
Right.
So having that as up there, sorry.
Yeah.
Is fine, but yeah, I would like to see another one up there. Come on, throw me a bigger bone than that.
Number 15 is 15. So that's recognizing her 2008 single.
Not Blue Ball this time.
Yeah. So we got a couple early stuff in here. We have Enchanted from 2010 at number 14. A song called Holy Ground at number 13 from 2012. Brand new one from 2021 called Right Where You Left Me at number 12. 11 is Cruel Summer from 2019. Number 10, top 10, Dear John, number 10 from 2010. So again, some of her early stuff is recognized in the top 20.
Yeah, some of it. That's not the early stuff that I want to recognize, though.
Marjorie, number 9 from 2020 from Evermore.
Yep.
Blank Space coming in hot at number 8.
Got blank space, baby. I'll write your name.
Lover from 2019 comes at number 7.
Lover.
Number 6 is Live Long from 2010. Okay. August from 2020 coming at number 5. Number 4 is Delicate. Number 3 is Mirror Ball. Number 2 is New Romantics from 2014. And coming in number 1, Taylor Swift song of all time. It has been decided, it has been decreed by the cabal of music lovers, music critics, Rolling Stone.
By Sheffield.
Rolling Stone calls it number 1 Taylor Swift song of all time is All Too Well. Never even heard of this fucking song before I saw this list.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yep.
Yeah. So there you go. Good job.
They were paid. They were bought
off. They're paid actors. Oh, you go, Rolling Stone. Again, the boomers rule everything and will continue to rule everything. They will continue the...
I disagree.
Of course.
How dare they try to put I don't even know. My frustration is untethered. My rage knows no bounds.
Yeah. All right, so I think that'll do it for the show today. What are we at? What's your little timer say on there on the Roadcaster?
1:23.
3. All right. Sounds good to me. So that sounds like a podcast. For episode,
it was a podcast.
That was a podcast. We've done it. Episode 123 of Can I Say Something? I have a Damien.
I've been hard indeed.
See you next week. Bye-bye.